Our family came to Wisconsin in the early 50s, late 40s. We were from San Antonio, probably around the early 1950s. We came to Michigan and eventually to Milwaukee. I always had a consciousness that, you know, I came from a minority group, even through high school. And I remember listening to, you know, Martin Luther King's speech from Washington, D.C. As a high school kid. And I remember having discussions with family members about the civil rights movement back then, when I was 17, 18 years old. I wanted to become a social worker. I wanted to become a community organizer. That's what they offered at UWM at the time in the undergraduate program. So that kind of put a seed into my head about what I wanted to do, along with the growing consciousness that was going on politically. I think I began to be active in some of the civil rights organizations on campus, primarily, you know, working on issues related to African Americans, related to housing, and you know, was aware of civil rights, and that was fairly active in those things, as well as the anti-war movement, you know, during that time, 66, early 67. I was actually approached by Hollis Stewart, who is a member, who was on the staff of the Spanish Center, and he approached me, and he heard about me, I guess, from people in the neighborhood, and so he approached me and asked me if, you know, sort of got me involved in some of the things that were happening at the Spanish Center on 6th and National. You know, I think if you look back, that was probably, you know, one of the most important agencies that we had on the South Side, very early agencies that dealt with Latino issues. You'll hear a lot of talk about, during this time, about agencies that existed in our community, and that one of the goals was to take control of those agencies, right? And to make them better serve the Latino community. I never saw that as an end in itself. It was really to build consciousness, to build more consciousness of people in our community. And that's what we were trying to do. We were trying to use issues to kind of build consciousness and to expose sort of the contradictions of what were existing in regards to Latinos and their rights, their civil rights. It was idealistic, right? But the 60s were idealistic, right? And that's what we did. That's what we were trying to do. There's been some changes, you know, and of course the civil rights movement, equal rights movement has made opportunities for Latinos that were not there before. We see Latinos now at UWM, which you never saw before. We certainly have seen changes in the Milwaukee public school system, you know, with programs focused on Latinos, such as bilingual education. Certainly issues of housing discrimination probably have lessened. You know, we see now Latinos all over the South Side, right? All over, stretching out all the way to Franklin, to Hales Corners, right? You see Latino communities out there. But I think that in my view as a sociologist, I feel that those issues have only impacted a small portion of the Latino community. And those are kind of the upperly mobile middle class, or the, you know, emerging middle class. At the same time, you know, lower income, more marginalized Latino populations in the city of Milwaukee has remained fairly much the same in regards to their economic opportunities that they have.